Hello everyone, Pallytime here. Welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. In today's video, we are going to be playing as Chen. He is a very different warrior from a lot of the other ones in the game. He isn't really countered by damage, he's countered by crowd control, which is a very different way of approaching the game for sure, and there's definitely a learning curve associated with Chen. It's been a few days since I've posted a video. Those of you who follow me on Facebook and Twitter already know why, or you should. I'm not going to talk about that until the end, because I don't want this video to become about that. But in my downtime in the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, I've been playing a lot of Chen, preparing for this video, and I have a decent amount of things to talk about. So let's get started, shall we? Alright, ladies and gentlemen. We find ourselves on the Cursed Hollow today. We are going to be going with Regeneration Master at level 1. I mentioned that Chen is a warrior that's countered by crowd control. Why is that? It's because of his trait, Fortifying Brew. One of the most interesting traits in the whole game. Not only does it generate a shield for Chen to use, which you can see in my health bar here, but it also is the means for him to fund his abilities. So for instance, his Q ability takes 10 brew to cast, his W 20 and his E 30. So if we just go ahead and spam all of these, we refund our mana bar or our brew bar by drinking. No other character in the game really has this mechanic as of right now. Let's do a spin here, see what we get in return. We get nothing. But it becomes a way for him to fund his offense and his defense at the same time, which, I mean, I think is pretty cool. I've played a lot of Chen over the last year or so. I don't quite remember when he was added into the game. Played him a lot in the beta, I believe. And then as the game transitioned over to live, still continued to play him, but mostly in custom games. So I just about have him, or I just now got him to level 9 pretty quick. Wow. Oh god, it's not good, not good. Oh, not good. Oh god. Oh, thank you, Abby. Woo! Oh man. Okay, that was stressful. So, Chen, what's the mentality? How do you approach the game? Well, essentially, in the early game, you are a bully. You are great at 1v1s, phenomenal at 1v1s, probably one of the best characters in the entire game at it. But 1v2s, all of a sudden, you start to fall apart a little bit. You mitigate so much damage with this shield, more than one person can typically deal in damage. So that allows you to do some really ballsy stuff. It just so happens that in this game we got ourselves an Abathur. Abathur is a phenomenal combo with Chen, because you can do fun stuff like this and just dive and then soak up damage with your shield and then get ganked by Nova and run away again. Okay, it didn't quite work out there, but you get what I'm saying. Chen is one of those characters where, for me anyway, when the stars align, you have an incredible game. But really, it all depends on what your team comp is and what the enemy's team comp is. For instance, with Stitches, you can land a good grab no matter what's going on. With ETC, well, kind of not really with ETC, because you can get crowd controlled quite a bit. But with ETC, you know, you can land a mosh pit that's incredible, and it changes the whole course of the game. Chen doesn't really seem to have those moments, but you will find yourself in a match where you just feel fucking invincible. And again, having an Abathur on your team certainly helps with that. We do have a tribute spawning down in the bottom lane. My Q ability, because I haven't gotten to it yet, is this flying kick. This is a fantastic movement ability. It's going to allow us to stick to targets pretty easily. Our W ability is Keg Smash, as we pick up a kill on Nazeeba at the top of the screen. This is a 25% slow on a target of our choosing. We throw it down in an area, and basically this guy doesn't move anymore. Really hoping for the top hat of Abathur here. Again, going to try to stick to the monk, but he is going to disengage. Will we be able to pick up the tribute? Looks like we are. Nova coming back into the fight here. Oh, too deep. We'll just go ahead and drink, try to live through this. We are going to be getting some heals from Lee, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We are going to die again. So, obviously, off to a bit of a rocky start here. But I promise I've been playing a lot of Chen and I've gotten pretty good at him, and I do have some insightful stuff to say throughout the course of this video. So, when he... Oh, and my E ability, by the way, Breath of Fire. So if you drop your keg on the ground in this circle, it'll put brew on top of some targets. Then you can ignite that brew with your E ability, which increases the damage of your E ability pretty substantially. Basically, if you're not doing the combo, there's no reason to cast your E ability most times, other than what we did earlier, which was revealing Nova. But he definitely has a learning curve. When he was added into the game, he had just about the same defenses as he has now, if I'm not mistaken. But he also had a phenomenal offensive capability if you knew how to play him correctly, which again was hard to do. Right now, we're going for all regen talents. We're going for as much tankiness in the early game as we can. Picking up Brewmaster's balance is going to help out with that as well. Interrupting the enemy team as they were going in for that tribute. Looks like we are going to be able to pick up a kill on the monk here, and I'm just going to sit here in my little shield and drink my brew. Going in on Azebo now, we should be able to take him down. A slow from our keg is going to put some pep, or take some pep out of his step. And this is obviously a decoy, but the real one not far away. Jumping in, we are going to take down Nova as well. And with that, our team is able to pick up the second tribute of the game, bringing us up to 2-0 as far as tributes are concerned. So when he was added into the game, a lot of his late game talents were actually in the early game. So for instance, Pressure Point, your flying kick massively slows a target. I believe this used to be a full-on root. They nerfed it so it's a 90% slow. There's no difference. It's basically a root. This used to be, I think, a level 7 talent. And then later in the game, you could also get bonus damage on your next basic attack, which is a phenomenal talent. I've never actually gone Chen versus Monk before. That's going to be an interesting combination. If the Monk has healing on his auto attacks, which he does, if I just sit in my little shield like I normally do, he's going to be able to heal probably more than I can damage him. So that's definitely some interesting counterplay there. I've never run into that. Basically, you used to be able to buff the shit out of your Q damage. And I mean, you would do a nuclear explosion on top of a target. You would do some of the highest precision single target damage in the game by the time you got to the late game. And that sounds weird because not a lot of people were really good at doing it, so that may sound a little off to you. But it was extremely powerful. And the fact that you can use your Q every 5 seconds basically just means that you were always on top of someone on the enemy team. You were always dealing damage to the targets you needed to deal damage to. We are going in on Kael'thas here as soon as I can move. The top hat of Abathur giving us a ton of damage output here. We are going to wait for our little Lily to make her way over here with the jug of 1,000 fuck yous, and we're going to continue to engage on the enemy team here. We are going to pick up a kill on Azebo. The enemy team's Monk is going to be healing quite a bit, but we're going to continue to pursue. There's really no drawbacks to that. We can actually stand under forts, we can stand under towers and simply drink through the ammunition at this point. But Blizzard decided that Chen's early game damage, well really his damage in general, but mostly in the early game, was a little bit too hard to contend with. So what did they do? They moved a lot of his talents around. And I would say that it was a little bit too much. I mean, it feels like a little bit too much of a nerf for me personally. We do still have some decent damage in the early game. But now, essentially, if you want to be effective on Chen, you have bread and butter talents. One of his newer talents, it's been in the game for a while now, but generally speaking, it's newer, is this Brewmaster's balance. I'm going to have to take a sip of water really quick. Terrible time. Is this Brewmaster's balance, which, again, isn't a brand new talent or anything, but it's relatively new. And what it does is it gives you different bonuses based on, oh, the palm, wait for it, and take him down. Oh, I waited too long. Okay, we're gonna drink, we're gonna hop into our little copies here, and then we're gonna get away. Cause fuck the police. No, never mind, let's get a kill first. And then fuck the police. Uh-oh, this might be really bad, actually. Okay, I'm disengaging. I actually forgot about one more thing that Chen used to have, but we'll talk about it in a moment. So one of his bread and butter talents in the early game now, as I've alluded to a couple times, is this Brewmaster's Balance. I think we're going to go for an AoE shield here. What it does is it allows you to have different effects based on your current level of brew. Now, on paper, this seems kind of okay. When you are above 50 brew, you gain health regen, a significant amount. When you're below 50 brew, you gain a movement speed increase, which helps you when you're trying to chase down targets, which are actually going to do a lot on Chen. He's really, really good at diving in and dealing damage. So, why is that really good? It actually allows you to be very, very, very flexible on Chen, who used to be pretty one-dimensional. I mean, you would go in and drink, and that was basically the end of your character's depth. Now with this talent, you actually have a lot of opportunity to outplay people where you did not have it before. For instance, when I was doing a lot of research on Chen, or not really research, but when I was playing him a lot this weekend, I noticed that I would stop drinking at certain times specifically so I could chase down heroes where I wouldn't have been able to catch them otherwise. Or when I'm traveling around the map, what I've been comparing it to in my head is the Feral Heart talent that Rhaegar has. It's an amazing mana and health regen on Rhaegar, but it doesn't really look that good on paper. Well, we've been playing Chen for 10 minutes straight, and yeah, I've died twice, I think. Once, 2 or 3 times. Yeah, twice. And I've died twice, but have you seen me go back for health at all? Have you seen me go to a sippy cup? Maybe once. Have you seen me go back to the well for something? No, you haven't, and that's because of our beginning level talents and Brewmaster's Balance in particular. It allows us to be a lethal, sustained killing machine. I like how I'm just casually picking up these kills here. Let's go ahead and drink for a second, kick in. Go ahead and drink here for a moment. We're just gonna let him go. He'll be fine. And then we get in our spirits and back up. Oh my god, it's just disgusting. Really, it's just disgusting. So on paper, it doesn't look like that great of a talent, or at least to me it didn't. But the cool thing you can do with it, I'm not going to pick my level 16 talent yet. The cool thing you can do with it is, as you can see, I'm getting the health regen bonus right now. I have 84 health regen per second. I can drop my keg and then ignite it, which uses exactly 50 brew. And now I have the effect of both of the bonuses from the Brewmaster's Balance. So again, I'll show you. You can look at the character sheet. Movement speed is 100, and you can see our regen is 84. Now all of a sudden our movement speed is 120%. We can get around the map very, very effectively. I'm going to go for combination attack. I'm going to go for damage in the late game just because I think we can counter this team pretty well with it. And I'm going to go very carefully up here. We don't want to commit too much to this because there are 5 people up here. But we can do some damage to this Nazebo, for instance. Gonna go ahead and drink pretty early on here and then go back in on Nazebo. The enemy team, not really, they don't have much of a front line to protect their back line, so it allows me to go in here pretty deep and deal a significant amount of damage. We should be able to take down Nazebo here just fine. Gonna have to drink, taking a lot of damage though. Oh, was not able to kick in. Completely outnumbered there. Not a good engagement by any means. And I also thought my ultimate was off of cooldown when it was not. So, complete mishap on my part there. But yeah, so basically the current state of Chen is you have to build for regen in your early game. Now, I say have to loosely. If you didn't want to think about this Brewmaster's Balance, if this wasn't something you're interested in, you could get more AoE damage from Ring of Fire, which basically allows you to pulse damage like the burning whatever the fuck it's called on other characters. Can't remember the name of it. Very common warrior talent, though. You could get that instead. But honestly, Brewmaster's Balance is just one of those bread and butter things. And it does stack with your amplified healing and, of course, your regeneration master. The more you're healing, the better. And because you are able to sit in your shield forever, this allows you to mitigate more damage than any other hero in the game under certain circumstances. These circumstances may not happen very often. In fact, in Hero League, I would say they would be pretty rare, or any type of organized draft. But you do get those matches in Quick Match that are just astonishingly good for Chen. For instance, I had a match last night where I was going up against a Arthas Malfurion, Vala, who was it? Nazebo, and then one other character that didn't have any interrupts or displacements. So essentially, I could walk into whatever the fuck I wanted to walk into, and there were no consequences to it. We also had an Abathur on my team, which was allowing me to dish out more damage than I knew what to do with. Abathur is one of those characters that just synergizes so well with Chen. Honestly, I feel like Abathur's in a good spot in general because he synergizes with so many damn characters, but Chen, it's like they were made for each other. Are we gonna do something really stupid and ballsy? I think I just might have to. No, we'll back out. We'll back out, it's fine. So, as you can see, I put a lot of thought into this episode. I put a lot of thought into what I wanted to say, and I'm not done yet. The ultimate that we are using, Storm, Earth, and Fire, is apparently one of his iconic abilities from Warcraft 3. I say apparently because I am not veteran in Warcraft 3 whatsoever. This ability used to work very similarly to what Tychus used to have with his Odin. Just gonna dive in here and do some damage. What does that mean? It used to give him another health bar entirely, which would allow him to basically survive through so much more than I can already survive through, at the point where it was unfair. I was salty about that nerf when it happened, but it was absolutely a much needed nerf, taking away well, I guess it is a new health bar. What did they change about it? They made it so it wasn't an instant cast. That's what they changed about it. The Odin for Tychus was basically nerfed, so it's not a double health bar anymore, but I guess Storm, Earth, and Fire kind of still is. Yeah, I'm on top of things. How do we want to get out of this? Well, this one's obvious. We have to do... Oh, I got interrupted. Fuck. That sucks. Oh well, I needed more time to talk anyway. So Storm, Earth, and Fire used to be an instant cast. This would stop channeling ultimates on you like triple tap instantly. And you could basically just walk around and do whatever the fuck you wanted to. Then this got nerfed and everyone stopped using it. Wandering Keg became the viable thing that everyone was using. And then it kind of fell off too. The only reason I would recommend taking Wandering Keg at this point is simply to, like, stop a medic. Stop someone who doesn't have any gap closers of any kind. That's really the only situation I can think of it. Storm, Earth, and Fire, though, really shouldn't be seen as a damaging ultimate. I mean, obviously it is, but it's more of a mobility thing. And really, Chen's kit in general should be seen as more of a mobility thing. Chen's kit allows you to body block like nearly no other character in the game can. Rhaegar is exceptional at body blocking. Muradin's pretty damn good at it too. And then I would say Chen falls right in line with those two other characters. You can get in the way of so many damn people that it can be infuriating, especially if you pick up the pressure point talent at level 16. I had some games where I was just chasing an Azmodan down for like 2 minutes at a time, and he couldn't get away from me, and it was just hilarious. Nova is right here where my cursor is, so we're totally fine. Let's see, what else? For a very long time, Chen's Q ability was just not working on moving targets. I made a video about this not long ago. That has been fixed, but his Q is still a little wonky. Essentially, if a target was on a mount and they were running by, your Q ability would quite simply not connect to that target whatsoever. We're going to have to pop my Storm, Earth, and Fire very early on here. We can walk in the way of this triple tap, soak up a lot of that, and then jump in here and try to deal some damage to the enemy team. We need to be very mindful of our duration here, though, as we are getting blown up pretty quick. And remember, our health is not too good on the other side of this. We did continue to regen health while we were in Storm, Earth, and Fire, though, so we should be okay. Kael'thas very low on health there. I just don't think I can do much engaging. We are going to be able to take down Tychus. We're going to drink now. Remember, he's healing off of me, so I have to be careful. Can we take down the monk? Yes, we can, and then we're going to drink again. As we're drinking, we are providing shields to nearby allies, so that made our Kael'thas a little bit more tanky as well. He did go this way, right? Fuck. Oh, that sucks. I thought he went that way. Let's see. Anything else I want to talk about? Did I mention his Q is a little wonky still? Because it is. You'll find you're supposed to jump to the other side of the target, kick through enemy target. That quite simply does not happen consistently still. If it did, Chen would be in a lot better of a spot than he is right now. I quite simply don't think he's an amazing hero by any means, but he is incredibly fun when the stars align and all of a sudden you can do whatever you want to do. As far as that goes, he is one of the most fun characters in the entire game. Now, to get to that point, there is a significant learning curve. With my build, like I mentioned, we went for straight survivability for the first 13 levels of the game. And then we go for combination attack, and at level 20, all of his abilities at level 20 are pretty valid, I would say. Elemental Conduit allows you to make an elemental like your Storm, Earth, and Fire whenever you use an ability, and you can actually control which one you make. All of the elements actually do different things. So if we want to slow down Nazebo more here, we can hit Nazebo with our W ability, and then we will make an Earth Spirit that will chase after Nazebo. If we want to deal more damage, all we do is Q in, and all of a sudden we have a Lightning Elemental that will be dealing more damage to a target from range. And for whatever reason, if we wanted the worst elemental of them all, the Fire one, who just kind of does auto attack damage for some reason, we use our E ability. Oh, you can see that was a good example of our Q being a little wonky. Sometimes you just kind of rubber band around your targets and it doesn't make much sense. That was one of those times. Well, the entire team's dead, so I guess I'll go in here. I know I didn't do a lot of commentating on the match. I've been a little distracted in my personal life lately, and I think that kind of carried over into this video. Also, like I said, I've been playing a ton of Chen, and I feel like I learned a lot about him. And he has a pretty interesting history in the game that has changed quite a bit over his lifespan. Yeah. More to the point on his talents at level 20. Here are his stats and stuff. You also have Blink at level 20 and Hardened Shield. Basically, if you're getting focused a lot, Hardened Shield is a great talent to pick up, and Blink just allows you to gap close on targets. I would only recommend picking up Blink if you have... where's his talents? I would only recommend picking up Bolt of the Storm, which is Blink, if you have the massive slow on your kick, your pressure point at 16, because that basically allows you to jump back really quickly to peel for your allies. I only pick this if we have a Sergeant Hammer or a Kael'thas or someone who I know is going to need my protection. That 90% slow is really disruptive to melee assassins, and considering the game is really focused on a lot of all-ins, Tyrael judging in, then you have the Butcher, you have Thrall, you have Kerrigan, you have Zeratul, Illidan, all of these melee assassins and warriors who are trying to get to your backline as fast as possible. Pressure Point is actually a really good counter for those characters. You do miss out on a lot of damage, though. Chen is one of those characters that relies a lot on his team, but can be built around his team really well. And as I've been playing him, as I've been going through, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I was trying out a lot of different builds, and not all of them worked out, but all in all, I've had a lot of fun with Chen over the past few days. And I hope you learned something in today's video. I hope I was insightful. I know this one was pretty different from all of the other ones. I basically talked for the entire time about the character's abilities and stuff. Maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. I can't do this for every character. It just so happens that I had a lot to say about Chen. So, for those of you that were wondering where I've been over the past few days, last week I went to the European Road to BlizzCon. That was in Prague. I had about 10 or 11 hours of traveling to get there and back, and I flew home and completely crashed. My sleep schedule was just messed up. And just took it easy for a couple days, did some recording for TGN, and was just taking it easy. Then I sent out an official tweet and Facebook post that I was just going to relax for a couple days, take some time away from recording, and then, just jump back into it. And I stressed that nothing was wrong and everything was fine. And then a few hours later, one of my family's dogs just out of nowhere, slipped a disc in her back. And she started whining really bad, and she couldn't move her back legs at all. She was like dragging her back half around. We didn't know what happened, so we rushed her off to the vet. and then a 24-hour vet, and then they recommended that we go to a specialist in Gainesville, which is a couple hours away from where I live. So she had an MRI done there, and that's when we found out that one of her discs in her spine, one of her vertebrae, slipped out of alignment. And when that happened, it paralyzed her back half. Her legs couldn't move. Her tail couldn't move, and she was just completely unresponsive to any type of feeling. She couldn't feel anything. She had an emergency surgery that corrected the vertebrae, and she's been in Gainesville recovering since then. She still doesn't have any feeling in her legs or her tail. She can't move those at all, but she is responding to some reflex tests on her back that she wasn't responding to earlier. So maybe, hopefully, the feeling is moving, is returning, and the surgery was a success, and that's really all I could hope for. She is looking like she's going to be able to come home soon, and it looks like she's going to need some rehabilitation. But I've been very vocal about this on social media, so if you're wondering where I am, Twitter is usually a good place to look. Twitter and Facebook. I always have links to my social media down in the video description for those of you who wanted to go there. A friend of my family's made a GoFundMe to help cover the costs for the surgery. And upon my family's request, I did make that public. And it felt very uncomfortable and awkward for me to post that, because I've never asked for anything before. But I want to thank you guys for your support. It's been a really hard couple days. Really stressful couple days, and a lot of you have been messaging me and just trying to keep me positive, and I just want you to know that I wholeheartedly appreciate it. So before I start crying in this video, I'm gonna go. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know I rambled a lot. I'll try to get over the warrior hump pretty soon, and we'll get back on track with this series. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.